Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, 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 Kitty's World, how you doing, what's up, nice to see you again, thank you so much for joining me, my gosh, what a day, what a day, what a week. Transitions, shifting, paradigm shifts, multi-dimensional awakenings, blah, 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 crap. So, what's going on? Man, energy is moving. The decisions we make, by that I mean the decisions we make to become the people we choose to be, how does that influence your expression, and how does that influence how you feed into the surrounding environment? So, what the hell am I talking about? I'm talking about that concept of how are you changing your mentality, or what do you do to reprogram the human biological system towards the outcome that you are trying to reach? And so what does that mean? What am I talking about? I keep talking about time and time again how spirit is the foundational level. Right? Spirit is the foundational level, the wellspring of energy, life, information. But the human vehicle and the vessel has a certain amount of capacity, right? But that capacity is dictated by a mindset and a mentality, a framework, a paradigm, and a belief system, right? You can put those in different bloody fucking orders, whatever you like. But how is that structured, and how are you limiting forces of energy coming through you to a point where you are either limiting expression or you are allowing expression, right? So for me, let's just use an example as myself. If I was a soul trader, I'm doing this stuff where I go around and I see the world through a soul trader lens. I can offer a solution, I can do the thing. Step one up, if I can become a business builder, business owner, and how does that then allow me to start shifting my mindset towards how do I, create value through leveraging the expertise of others and creating a team around me. So now my vision starts to change towards, okay, well, who do I need to bring into my world to be able to bring this about? And then an investor mindset. How do I create these structures so that I can be an investor in it, which means what are the systems and processes necessary for me to achieve this result? Now, I mention this because, and like tying it back to the God-centered mindset, right? Of God-centered consciousness, where if your paradigm is living just purely on the material realm with man's world and man's systems, then your worldview is limited to the capacity of how man himself can achieve certain goals. You tinker, you toil, you build things. Sure, there's community and there's all these other elements, but if we start to open up our awareness to a God-centered mindset and holy lordy doody, what does that do to you? How is the Lord participating in our lives? How is the Lord flowing through our prayers, through our mentality? How much faith do we have? How much magic are we allowing to come into reality if we were only to believe and we were only to have faith that it could be possible? And I'll use a story that my mate has told me about the nature of Christ, right? And how Christ, it was about faith and how much faith you have in Christ. And he was talking about how a lady, when Christ was walking through somewhere, he had a robe and a lady would just touch his robe and he felt it. He felt something happen. He's like, whoa, who touched my robe? What happened just there? And the lady was with his eye, she had a daughter or somebody ill, and she said, I knew that if only I was to touch or merely be able to put my hand on your robe, would my close one be healed. And he's like, oh, that's all it requires for you to touch a robe? It's like, oh, Christ, I understand the power of Christ, and all I would need is a hand on the robe. Or I think it was like a general who had a sick son miles and miles away, and the general came to Christ and said, Christ, if you would just merely utter a word for him, I know that he would be healed. And Christ said, merely, is that all you need? What do you need from me? Just a word. The level of faith that like his word would be enough to make such a difference in your life. And kind of tying it to maybe something functional in terms of a book to read of The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, talking about how the biological organism can change through belief systems and a restructuring of a belief, of a paradigm, a mentality, a mindset, a framework of being. How do you shift through... How do you change your life? Just by shifting how you view the world. It's simple in terms of, let's say you're having a crappy day. Crappy day. You shift your mindset. Oh, it's been a challenging day. You can still call it a crappy day if you like. But it's been a challenging day. It's been testing me. It's been pushing me to my limit to be more patient. It's been testing me to become a more caring person. It's been testing me to not lose my center. It's been testing my integrity. It's been testing me. How does those two... it's just a crappy day. The day is crappy. The world beyond me holds power that I have no force over. Yet if I take it as, I'm being challenged, all this stuff is brought to me to be able to absorb so that I can turn it into something powerful. I can turn it into something worthwhile. I can turn it into something meaningful that I can embody. And it's a gift. These challenges are a gift and a great opportunity to grow further, to develop further as a human being. And who's going to benefit from those two situations and scenarios? Who's going to be more empowered, right? The questions we ask ourselves: how can we become more empowered in our lives? How can we make monumental shifts in the velocity of our transformation just by how we view the world? Just by how we are recognizing, first and foremost, the programming that is already there within our system. We have a model that we are living out of. We have a mental landscape that is filtering. So let's say there's purity. There's just absolute purity of force, creation, and everything flowing through the human individual. And it comes through, and I'm not saying the mind is here, but there's so much cranial activity here, right? There's cranial activity because the brain is there. I'm not saying mind is here. Mind flows through all things, I believe. All is mind. The universe is mental. But so much cranial activity, ideas, cognizant understandings of reality, and I believe there's so much processing happening here that dictates the direction of flow. Are we too pragmatic or too functional to allow magic to happen, to allow transformation beyond our capacity? Can I be like, holy crap, if I could just give on to the Lord, things that I don't have control over, but there is an outcome I wish to achieve. There is a place I'm trying to get to for a certain result. What is the ideal future? What is this location you're trying to get to? This is stuff you got to sort out yourself. But towards this goal, for the betterment of humanity, for the people so they can come closer to you, Lord, how could I improve myself? And how could I improve my situation? How can I bring more love to this world through your work, through the grace of God? Because then it's not just me. It's not just me getting out there, having a talk, having a conversations and be there. How can the Lord work through me? Right? How can God flow through me and be there in essence for all the people that I can make contact with? If I can be a vehicle, if I could let go of my selfishness, that I am the one to bring the grace of Lord or such a goodness or virtue to this world. How could I imbue not just the characteristics and the qualities, but truly the influence of God if I can just let go a little bit? Not just let go completely. I need to still maintain myself. I need to be the vehicle. I need to be the vessel. I need to be grounded. I need to be humble. I need to be here. But how much do I hold on to that outcome dependent on myself? And what if I can give on to the higher power, give on to God, that which I cannot do, and that which I believe the Lord knows so much better than I? And so how do we pray? And how does prayer change that functional place where we are living within our mind, with our self-limiting beliefs? Or the self-limiting belief is is kind of tied to potentially thinking that we are the ones that have to do the work. Of course, there's diligent work that we must do. We must toil the soil. We must turn it. We must tend to it. We must be carers. We are custodians of this land, right? But we are not totality. We are custodians of this place here and now, but there's so much more life in places that we cannot see that we are not custodians of. There are custodians everywhere, but the Lord rules over all. In my model and in my life, and you've been watching my channel, this is the way that I am, and I don't always talk actively about God and my relationship with God and how it's coming into play, but I'm so tired of not speaking about it. This is probably just going to be a channel about me talking about God and relationship with the Lord and how we kind of go further with it. Fuck it, cancel me. I don't give a shit. People that don't want to work with me because I talk about God and my relationship with it and the power of Spirit to, you know, to not overthrow, not an upheaval, but to completely, like, this Holy Spirit. And I know I'm using language that might seem Christian, but I'm not saying that I'm tied to Christianity, but it's just this power of the Spirit, that can revolutionize us and truly our biology only if we were to give unto it. And it's scary, because there could be a lot of malicious entities out there, forces unseen. Even like in the Buddhist practices, they talk about forces seen and unseen. And if you start to open up your paradigm to, holy shit, there could be evildoers out there. There could be evil spirits out there trying to latch onto me, right? So you got to be fucking careful. You got to be careful of what's out there. If you're ignorant to the fact that evil is there, all is good, people are just naive that there is no evil, then fuck, that's a pretty scary place for me, because you're not anticipating that there is somebody that's an antithesis to your journey, that it wants an outcome outside of yourself. And I'm not saying to see everyone as an enemy, but there is a force that's fighting inside of me, trying to lead me astray in very incremental ways, wants to lead me astray from God, from the Lord, and from the way, you know, that is pure and whole. And I am guilty as fuck that I am not clean and pure in all my actions, all my doings. I have the human nature that comes in and, you know, taints it. And I'm not saying taint in a bad way. I just mean, it's like paint, right? Imagine there was a canvas or a paint that could absolutely revolutionize how painting is done, yet we keep on adding these things to it. You're like, well, the thing itself was pretty good, but we kind of dialed it down. And this is what I call, and once again tying into the conspiracy, to me it's a spiritual conspiracy of how system corporations and these entities that understand the spiritual nature of man withhold knowledge from us to the connection and then sell it back to you. And it's ironic, because I am going down into the path of business. I am walking into the business world because I believe, yes, there are these rules that the world has created, that the man machine, the Luciferian strain, whatever you want to call it, the devil, whatever, it's created this place that we are currently living in. Now, I'm not going to a monastery. I've accepted that fact. I've accepted the fact I'm going to be a householder, that I'm going to make money. I'm going to participate in this land of commerce. And yeah, it scares me a little of what that can do to a man, you know, if you're not there, if you're not straight with it. But if I know that I'm here to do the right thing, or align to what I believe is the most virtuous pathway, once again, I am not perfect. I'm going to stray. And that's why I try to keep good people around me, so that I can have good conversations and I can share my load and I can, you know, express my shortcomings, and I can express my gratitudes, and I can keep sharing what I'm so grateful for in this life. And because the more that I can express what I'm grateful for in this life, and what's so good and what's worth fighting for, and the things that I cherish the most, and this is why I need you guys as well in this channel. I need you guys, because if I don't, then I don't have these conversations. I know it's a dialogue, or a monologue, because it's just me ranting, but without you guys, I don't have the opportunity to speak onto this. So I say thank you to you too, because I need this for me to be able to talk about something so direct. And maybe it's going to fuck me in the butt in terms of, you know, maybe this is going to be my undoing, this channel, through my business life. You know, what turns me around, it's like, did you ever see Kenji's world? He talked about this, he talked about this. I don't know what's going to slip out. Sometimes it does freak me out. But this is a risk I'm willing to take to express myself. And I do have to be mindful of what I say. And I have to continue to reassess. I'm not going to be apologetic for who I am, but I also do have to be mindful, like I said, because sometimes I'm trying to stay with the train of thought that I believe is aligned with the virtues and values of the Lord and God, and the Lord and God is just to me is a truly sustainable pathway. It's a real essence of what scalable means, because if it's truly fundamental and base principle, so I'm staying with that to the best of my ability so that I can continue to deliver value at that level. Not always successful, but that's the journey that I'm on. So staying with it, staying with God as much as I can. The more I call unto God, the more I feel at peace with the world and myself, because I know that I don't have to do anything. I just need to make sure I take upon my responsibilities and pick up my feet and walk the walk that I need to, and just pray and give thanks and just pray. Like, prayer is such a precious place. It's so important, because I feel like I am saved in prayer, truly, time and time again, when I am wondering, or when I'm in doubt, or when I see something that I have no control over, yet it affects me or it troubles me. Prayer is such a powerful place that I give on to the Lord to look after those things, to care for those around me, care for those that I cannot see, care for this world, and care for the people that I really give a shit about, and care for the people that I don't give a shit about. You know, there's so many people that I personally am not currently giving a shit about, because I'm limited in my capacity. So how do we tie that limiting capacity to the unlimited capacity? Or how can we access, and how can we rely, or how can we really create the relationship with the unlimiting capacity of a creator, of, you don't have to call it God, whatever you're calling it, but how do we have that relationship with it? How can we tie to it so that we are participating in it, but also giving unto the things that we cannot control? How do we have prayer? That's probably where I'll leave it. Appreciate the rant, as always. Thank you so much for joining me. You know how it is. Kenji's World. Be love. One love. Be love to those around you. Share it. Give it. Pray.